everybody. I'm Rotarian Shirley from the Rotary Club of Subang, and I'll be your virtual meeting coordinator for today. I would like to acknowledge the presence of our incoming governor, Datuk Bindi Rajasegaran, past, present, and future district leaders, past, present, and future presidents, my fellow Rotarians and guests. Thank you very much for being here today. Now, before I start, I would like to just state some house rules. Firstly, please have a name to your Zoom profile. Please avoid handphone names, and our virtual gatekeepers will send you back to the waiting room if you do not change your profile names from handphone names to proper names. All of you have been muted at this moment, and you will remain muted throughout the session. We will have a question and answer session at the end, and you are allowed to unmute during that time if you need to ask any questions. Better still, we encourage you to key in your questions at the Zoom chat area, and our moderator will address it to the speaker then. We are currently live on Facebook and we are being recorded too. Hence, please do watch your actions on camera, very importantly, because we are now live. And please switch on your video as we would like to interact with all of you as we go along with this session. So with that, in today's talk, menstruation, health and hygiene matters are not just for women and girls who are menstruating, but for the whole society. Yes, and thank you very much because your presence here today just states that you matter to menstruation. Now, but it doesn't matter whether we have our period or not, or we have menopause, or we are a guy and we don't even experience period. Every one of you play an important role in breaking the silence around menstruation. Now, a group of us, a group of partner clubs have come together to make this tri-series awareness campaign on menstrual health and hygiene. And we want to create this awareness not only in our district, but to reach out as to many people as possible. Now, I would like to acknowledge these partner clubs. Firstly, the Rotary Club of Subang, President Tinish Kumar, Asoko Kumara, and all his club members. Rotary Club of Bukit Angkasa, President-elect Cordelia Tan and her club members. The Rotary Club of Bukit Jalil, President-elect Angelina and her club members. The Rotary Club of Bandar Sungai Petani, President Takaru Govindasamy and his club members. The Rotary Club of Lake Gardens, President Glory Martin and her club members. The Rotary Club of Mont Kiara Gateway, the current acting president and also the president-elect Arisha Alex Arifin and her club members. The Rotary Club of Pandamaran, President Tila Pillai and her club members. And the Rotary Club of Seremban, President Lata and her club members. Now we have together with us an inter-district partner club, the Rotary Club of Platinum City, Bangalore, District 3190, India, President Dr. Shobaji and her club and her club members. Now we have also a special mention for President-elect Nisha Ballare and Rotarian Supana Ghoshal from the Rotary Club of Platinum City, Bangalore. They will be sharing a short session later, and our moderator for today is none other than Rotarian Supana Ghoshal. So we a special mention for these two lovely ladies who are also playing a vital role in today's session. And not to mention our guest speaker, Dr. Sai Sudha, and representatives of Pantai Hospital Ampang. Thank you very much. All of them are playing such important role today to create awareness for menstrual health and hygiene. So without further ado, I would like to call upon our incoming governor, Datuk Bindi Rajasegaran, to give us her opening address. But before that, we would like to wish her happy wedding anniversary because it's Datuk Bindi and Datuk Rajasegaran's wedding anniversary today. And, you know, she has taken time away from that to be with us today to give us her opening address. So let us all welcome incoming Governor, Datuk Bindi Rajasegaran.
Thank you so much, Shirley. By the way, our wedding anniversary was yesterday. The news spread a little bit slow in our district this time. But nevertheless, thank you so much for all the kind wishes. I've been overwhelmed with all the kind wishes. Anyway, a very good evening to everyone, and welcome to all the Rotarians from near and far, and a special welcome to Rotarians from other districts. It's so nice to see all of you all supporting us and participating in tonight's event. And a special welcome to President Dr. Shobha from the Rotary Club of Bangalore Platinum City. Now, as mentioned by Shirley just now, all these dynamic ladies from our district, Shirley herself, President Glory, President-elect Hema, President-elect Cordelia, Rotarian Remya, President-elect Alex, and President Lata, and President-elect Angeline, and Tinapile. These ladies are amazing ladies. They are so enthusiastic, and they can move mountains, believe me. I'm really extremely proud of them. Now, it's wonderful to see all of them, initiating this program in menstrual hygiene. And I'm sure all of you, and especially the men here today, you must realize women are unique. We are structurally different from men, and we respond differently to vulnerabilities, and our evolvement through the age milestones involves many unique emotions and physical and mental changes. And most men cannot understand this. We are a very complex species, and we like to keep it that way. My involvement in promoting this subject of menstrual hygiene began about a year ago when I was invited to speak about empowerment of women and effects of menstruation on the mental health of women on a virtual platform in India. And the subject was more around problems women were facing coping with menstruation. And I'm aware of the many taboos and myths connected to menstruation in this day and age. You can't believe that, but it still happens. And the hush-hush secrecy of this subject. The event was organized by a group of lady Rotarians who started an international fellowship of lady Rotarians during the pandemic. And this amazing group of women then started focusing on this subject. And it just spread like wildfire to all the 31 countries represented in the fellowship group by 250 members. So that it was an amazing feat. In such a short time, they were able to garner so many members from so many countries. And this eventually led to the formation of the Rotary Action Group of Menstrual Health and Hygiene, which was recently officially recognized by Rotary International. So well done, ladies. You have been amazing, and this is a perfect example of recognizing opportunity during adversity. Now, I'm really elated that this tri-series has been initiated, and we need to speak about this subject very openly. Menstruation is a natural biological function, and we need to emphasize on menstrual hygiene as it's a very integral part of the life of any girl. We also need to educate the boys and men in this subject, as it's very important for them to realize that this is a natural phenomenon that causes our graph to be erratic sometimes. Educating men would also result in more progressive families. Now, throughout the journey of a woman's life, the most profound changes come during puberty, when psychological and hormonal changes happen together with physical changes. Now, we need to ensure that girls receive the support during this critical time, especially from mothers and immediate family members, to embrace this as a positive change. Girls should feel comfortable, they should feel good, and they should feel confident about themselves. The mental perception of this natural change has to be a positive experience. And creating this positive impression is so important at this age. Let's start with creating the importance in menstrual hygiene. And I hope, really do hope this tri-series will lead to more positive change in the mindset and awareness of this very important subject. Allow me to welcome our esteemed speaker, Dr. Sai Sudha, whom I've known since she was a little girl. And I'm extremely proud to be sharing this platform with her today. Now keep this momentum going, ladies, and wish you all good health and do take care. And I must mention here the ladies behind the Rotary Action Group are here with us in the Zoom. And they are none other than Sharmila from UK, who initiated this whole thing. Welcome, Sharmila, and we are so proud of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Incoming Governor Datuk Bindi, for your opening address. And now, before we move on to our speaker for the day, we would like to have a little bit of insight about menstrual hygiene and health initiatives that are undertaken in India. And we'd like to call upon President-elect Nisha Bellara to share with us some of these initiatives that are currently being implemented. We may be able to get some insightful ideas and look at ways that we can even try to implement here in Malaysia. So over to you, President-elect Nisha.
Thank you so much, Shirley. Just give me a minute before I start the screen. All right. A very good evening to everyone, and thank you so much for this opportunity to allow me to share our learnings here in District 3190. I am also the Menstrual Hygiene Chair for the District 3190, and this is the second year that we have a formal designation in the district. We also have the next 2 years leaders in line so that there is continuity in the work that we are doing. So what is the current scenario of menstrual health and hygiene management in India? Every government schoolgirl is given a packet of single-use disposable napkins, and due to the limited supplies, the pads are worn for longer duration and therefore unhealthy. The comfort of single-use napkins are low. The distribution cost by the clubs or the government is incurred. And what happens when she leaves school? So the pads are usually given to the school up to the time she's in grade 10. What happens after that? And what has Rotary been doing in the last couple of years, in the last 20 years? We've been distributing thousands of single-use sanitary napkins to school children across the country. There's a low-cost pad making machine which was set up. It was a good initiative then, because that was the only initiative with regards to menstruation that was taken up. So it was a good initiative then. But what happened? There was enormous garbage that was created, an environmental disaster. And to tackle that, incinerators were set up in schools. And these incinerators, mind you, ladies and gentlemen, are the domestic incinerators which burn the menstrual waste at a degree of 400 degrees Celsius, which is not healthy. It emits dangerous fumes like the dioxins and furans, which are carcinogenic. And we all know that plastic is the biggest disaster, or the biggest is very hazardous, and every single-use napkin contains a gel, it contains plastic, and each pad takes about 500 to 800 years to decompose. What happens when it is once the girl finishes using the pad? It's either sent into to the dustbin and then sent to the landfills, or it is either burnt in the road corners or in schools in the domestic incinerators. Either way, it is a disaster. So what are the solutions? We say the solutions are cloth pads and menstrual cups, and also cloth diapers for small babies. They're reusable, biodegradable, better for the health and the environment. We believe that the cloth pads are healthier and greener. We have gotten all the advantages of a single-use napkin into the cloth pad, made it leak-proof. It has wings so that it doesn't move. And also it's eco-friendly and very comfortable to use, and pocket-friendly too, because a single-use napkin has to be bought every month. whereas a reusable cloth pad can be used for up to 2 years. And when we do awareness programs, we also talk to them about how they should care for the period product, and we insist that the cloth has to be dried in the sun. What are the benefits of giving reusable cloth pads for the Rotary clubs? It can be used for 2 to 4 years. It saves recurring distribution costs, saves the environment. It is comfortable for the user, no rashes, no burning sensation, can be used after the girl leaves school. Upfront cost may be a bit higher, but effective over a period of time. And self-help groups can take to manufacturing this under the Rotary Vocational Service vertical. The second solution is the reusable menstrual cups. It's made of medical grade silicone rubber, and it's healthier and greener. It is inserted into the vagina just like a tampon is, but the only difference is that the menstrual cup collects the menstrual fluid as against absorbing it like a tampon does. It can be used for 5 to 8 years, which means less dump in the landfills. And depending on what product you buy, the one menstrual cup in India costs anything between 700 to 3,000 rupees, which can be used for up to 8 years. Very easy to use. You fold, it takes time for a woman to learn maybe 1 or 2 cycles, but once she gets the hang of it, there's no looking back. And this is out of the feedback that we've received from many projects that we've done. We've just done a comparison sheet here where we've talked about the difference between a single-use napkin, a reusable cloth pad, and a menstrual cup. I wouldn't go into the details of what it is made up of, but I would like to draw your attention to the last line on this slide, which talks about the cost per period cycle. Now, the single-use napkins in India are available anything between rupees 2 per pad to rupees 15 per pad, and which brings the cost to per period cycle of rupees 60 to 120 per period cycle. But if she uses a cloth pad, the upfront cost may be 350 rupees a kit. But if you spread it over 2 years, the cost per period cycle is just 15 rupees. And if a girl or if a woman switches to a menstrual cup, the special price that we have brought in here, we've negotiated with the vendor, is 350 rupees for a menstrual cup. And because it can be used for up to 8 years, the cost per period cycle is just 3 rupees 64 paise. So even though we feel, you will have Rotary clubs saying, oh my God, it's so expensive. But then if you look at it over a period of time, it really works out economical. So we go and promote the reusable menstrual product in such a way where we say cloth pads for girls from the time of menarche to marriage, and menstrual cups for women from marriage to menopause. So we have launched a program called Rupantara. Rupantara means transformation, and we've selected a panchayat. A panchayat is the head of about 7 to 8 villages, and we launched a program in these 7 villages, and the program is called Rupantara, which means transformation. The Panchayat Development Officer over there also has a motive of Green Rajan Kunte, where he believes that his Panchayat area should be green and should have zero waste. So we approached him and he said that our program will not only help you manage your waste, but if the women switch to reusables, they'll not generate waste. So he was very excited and he said, let's launch a program together. So Rotary 3190, the MHH team, and the Panchayat Development Officer, we launched a program together. He helped us identify 12 ladies who we trained. And we said it will be a 3-month program where we do an awareness program. We train the social service workers who will then take it forward to the end user. So it's a 3-month program in 7 villages with 350 beneficiaries, 12 Rupantara Sakhis. Sakhis means friend. Rupantara means transformation. So they are the ones who are our voice carriers to the end users. Of course, the Panchayat office. Grama Lakshmi is a self-help group that Rotary set up in December 2019, where the reusable cloth pads are manufactured. The People's Trust is where which supports the Grama Lakshmi and Rotary District 3190. So these are the people who have joined hands in making Rupantara a big success. What are our findings in Rajan Kunte? We believed that 29% of them said yes to using menstrual cups. 95% of the women are willing to switch to eco-friendly period products, and 75% of the women are willing to buy them at the MRP. So they are very cautious and concerned about their health and their environment. And that was a big learning for us when we went into the rural areas. We also are working very closely with a primary health center close to where our club is located, where they targeted about 900 girls and women. 36% of them have switched to reusable cloth pads, 12% have switched to menstrual cups, because there is still a bit of a taboo. But once the gynecologist comes in and talks to them, validates it, I'm sure the 12% will also go up. In another PHC, Tavarekere, our target audience was 400, where 47% have switched to menstrual cups. Acceptance to reusable products is increasing, and now with the UNFPA also bringing in the reusable products into their list for free distribution, I think that shows the worldwide acceptance to menstrual cups and cloth pads. So we have trained 12 ladies. We pay them, a sum of 3,000 rupees for 3 months. Then, of course, the period product were given to them, the cloth pads and the menstrual cups, because we believe that the ones who are going to be trainers should be using the period product themselves to be able to handle the questions asked by the end user. So we insisted that the trainees use the products first, and then we raised funds with the help of a photography competition to fund this project. So the total costing to reach 350 women in 7 villages is about 1,65,700 rupees. What is the way forward? We say promote vocal for local. We are looking at setting up smaller self-help groups in various areas, which can have a capacity of 500 cloth pads manufacturing every month, and they can service the local communities. Train the local primary health center staff, Anganwadi teachers, NGOs, who can then become trainers. And this is a revenue generating model for the trainers. So they will keep this program going on the ground. This is all that I had to say. If there are any questions, maybe we'll take it at the end. And thank you. That brings me to the end of the presentation. Thank you, Shirley.
Thank you. Thank you very much, President-elect Nisha. I must admit, it's just amazing the amount of effort you have put in District 3190 in regards to menstrual hygiene and health. Now, can we now switch over to President Glory from the Rotary Club of Lake Gardens to have her to share with us on some of the initiatives that are being done in District 3300, in particular Rotary Club of Lake Gardens, for menstrual health and hygiene. So I'll be sharing her screen for her. President Glory, you can unmute yourself first.
Thank you, Shirley.
Okay, Glory, over to you.
Right. Thank you, Shirley. A very good evening to all fellow Rotarians, bionic women and charming gentlemen right here with us, incoming DG Bindi Rajasekharan and our guest speaker, Dr. Sai Sudha. Greetings from Rotary Club of Lake Gardens, Kuala Lumpur. We are indeed glad to be part of this awareness initiative to ensure every girl, woman enjoys a comfortable period and expose young girls to menstrual hygiene, as well as our contribution towards safe environment. Rotary Club of Lake Gardens, our engagement towards this menstrual health and hygiene started in October 2018. We started with the reusable sanitary napkins. To date, we have reached out to schoolgirls at rural areas, the Orang Asli, indigenous people of Malaysia, the Sri Lankan refugees and Myanmar refugees, and few more other deserving community. And you can see some of the photos of our project shared in the slides. And well, we have to admit that it is still a taboo to talk about menstruation among, even among the mindful community here. Since the level of awareness is poor, we undertake a very sensitive approach to reach out to our target recipients. Sooner, we will be also exposing them to menstrual cups. So far, our beneficiaries have been very receptive, giving us courage to do more. And And yes, please do contact us if you have any beneficiaries, because we have our funds ready, and we are all out to give out and help the the deserving community. And we have also secured district grant for this project, and we welcome and we look forward to have partner clubs who are interested to reach out to more women out there. Thank you, and we take pleasure in sharing our project. Thank you.
Thank you very much, President Glory, for some insights on the projects that has been undertaken by the Rotary Club of Lake Gardens. We are hoping that from this tri-series awareness talk that we will have more Rotary clubs in District 3300 on board and having more projects in regards to menstrual hygiene. Now, with that, I would like now to call upon President-elect Hema, also from the Rotary Club of Lake Gardens. This is just to share with us. And of course, Hema, move the head a little bit so I can see the title. Yes, Regional Director Asia for our newest baby in Rotary International Action Group, which is none other than the Rotary Action Group of Menstrual Health and Hygiene. So over to you, Hema. Maybe you'd like to share with us a little bit about this action group for the benefit of all our Rotarian ladies here.
Well, thank you, Shirley. A very good evening and greetings, everyone. I'm Hema Doraisamy. I'm the PE from Rotary Club of Lake Gardens, and I'm also the Regional Director for the Asia region for the Rotary Action Group Menstrual Health Hygiene. I'm pleased to say that our Rotary Action Group was approved early this month by Rotary International. Today with us in the Zoom session, we actually have our Rotary Action Group President, Rotarian Sharmila, and also members from the Rotary Action Group as well. Basically, our aim is to advocate menstrual health hygiene issues all around the world, as well as the environmental issues that come along with it. This is a global problem which needs everyone's attention. In this juncture, I would like to invite all Rotarians, non-Rotarians, and all present here today to like our Facebook page to constantly be updated with all the latest project that we are up to. You can actually obtain our Facebook page name just right above my virtual background. So that's the reason why I've put this, so that everyone can actually see it. Now, we are here for everyone to reach out to us on matters related to menstrual health hygiene. Our members comprise of ladies and doctors from all around the world who are well-versed in menstrual health hygiene issues and who are more than willing to help and guide everyone here. Should you are interested to be part of us, please reach out to us by leaving your contact number and our team will get in touch with you. Please leave your contact details in the chat box and we'll get in touch with you. We also have a WhatsApp group formed for Asia region. So for those of you who are interested, Rotarians who are interested, you can actually contact us as well. All right. So once again, please do not forget to like our Facebook page, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much, President-elect Hema and the Regional Director Asia for Rotary Action Group Menstrual Health and Hygiene. So remember what you said, you got to like the FB page, and secondly, drop your contact number for those based in Asia. Drop your contact number in the Zoom chat area if you're interested to be part of this action group. So it doesn't need to be a Rotarian or Rotarians. You're more than welcome to also join this. Just put your contact number in the Zoom chat area. Hema will contact you after this. All right. So now with that, before we move on to our speaker for today, let me just briefly introduce to you our speaker, Dr. Sai Sudha. She hails from Ipoh, Perak. So, you know, as the saying goes, all the pretty Lenglois come from Ipoh. You know, I'm also one of them. Of course, Dato Bindi is also another, you know. So usually all the intelligent, pretty ones definitely come from there. So Dr. Sai Sudha, no exception to that matter. She graduated with her degree in MBBS in 2004 from the Malacca Manipal Medical College. She did her housemanship and she has served in many of our public hospitals around Malaysia. To just name a few, Taiping, Kota Baru, Teluk Intan, and the last was Sungai Buloh, before she decided to go on her own. And now she's with the Pantai Hospital Ampang since January of this year. She did her master's in University Science Malaysia and graduated in 2013. Some of her hobbies and interests, she's definitely an avid sports person, very active in almost all kinds of sports, badminton particularly. And recently, she has gotten into hiking in the last 2 years. And she has actually hiked Mount Kinabalu, and not to mention Mount Everest Base Camp also. And as what our incoming governor said, she's very closely connected because she's classmates with our incoming governor's daughter. And in fact, they have done the hiking trips together too. In person, she's a mother of 2 very lovely kids, a boy and a girl, 13 years and 8 years respectively. She says she's a very simple person. She works hard. She also plays hard. She's very dedicated and committed to her profession. Am I making you blush, Sudha, by any chance?
Quite a bit.
She has spoken locally to local and international clients, and do like her on her Instagram and also her Facebook. She has done a lot of short videos in medical related matters, and do contact her if you do need any medical consultation at Pantai Hospital Ampang. Now, today, she will be sharing on ways to improve menstrual hygiene that can have a profound effect on girls and women, as it can help unlock progress related to health, education, and gender equality. So before I pass over to Sudha, if you have any questions, please type that into the Zoom chat area. We will have a Q&A session at the end for 15 minutes, and our moderator, Rotarian Suparna, will pick out those questions and direct it to our speaker. So please key in your question. However, if you feel it's quite difficult for you to type your questions, just indicate on the Zoom chat area that you would like to ask your question directly to the speaker. And then we will get you unmuted and you can able to ask your questions then. So without further ado, let me pass the floor over to our guest speaker for today, Dr. Sai Sudha.
Hi, thank you very much, Shirley. Nice to see you after a very long time. Dr. Bindi and all Rotarians, a very good evening. Thank you for the kind introduction. I would like to say a very, very good evening to all Rotarians and members of the public who have actually tuned in for the discussion today. Just give me a minute to get my slides on. All right. Okay, I'm Dr. Sudha, OBGYN in Pantai Hospital Ampang. Now, the topic on menstrual education is so important to understand, not only for the women folk, but also very much for the men and the entire community that we live in. It is wonderful that the Rotary Malaysia is taking this initiative to help menstrual poverty among those who are really in need of it. You'll be surprised at the number of people or women and adolescent girls who are actually suffering in silence with this menstrual issue, as said by Miss Nisha. It's what's going on in India. And wonderful efforts that they have put in India itself. You will be surprised that even in KL, you have girls and women struggling to manage normal menstruation due to economic constraints that restrict the accessibility to sanitary products. Hence, I personally, to talk about something that was very recent, I didn't see anything wrong in the recent exercise of giving away sanitary pads during the International Women's Day. It was all over the social media, and the comments that were passed clearly tells you that many are far from understanding what menstruation is all about, let alone the challenges that one might face due to period poverty. Yeah. So, sorry. Okay. So what's menstruation actually? Why is it such a taboo? Why is it so difficult for people to understand? Yeah. So, menstruation is a normal body function, and a sign of reproductive health, that's all. Girls attain menarche at about 10 years of age, and it's a hormone-influenced cycle of about 28 to 30 days that prepares the womb for conception. And they have symptoms of breast tenderness, mood swings, backaches, not as a choice, but due to all these hormonal effects that are taking place at that point in time. So some may have such severe symptoms, yeah, that may impede their activity of daily living for the initial few days. It's really, some of them really suffer. Yet they continue to do what they do because women know that this is a natural process. However, others may seem to find all this amusing, making fun of PMS. Oh, you're PMSing, you're PMSing. They don't know that PMS is real. It's true. And it doesn't stop. It is something that women have to deal with every month, especially for those who have real bad PMS. Yeah, it is not that they are using menses as an excuse or a reason. It's something that's beyond their control. So this is something that especially the men need to understand instead of really using that against them. Yeah. And also, you know, some of them use it to call out to women when they underperform or when something is not right, especially at the workplace. So I don't think this is very fair. And this is really something that we need to change as we go along. Solutions, there are many solutions that are available actually to manage menstruation. But starting with the community education, I think that is by far the most important thing for us to actually have some amount of community education in order for people to understand that this is really an issue and that we need to reach out to the people or the women and the adolescent girls who are actually facing this challenge. Yeah. Additionally, ignorance, prejudice, cost and safety fears can really impede girls and women from testing the full range of products that are actually available in the market today. Yeah. Okay, just want to go back a little bit on history. Take you just for a short ride on history. Before 1888, yeah, women often used strips that were folded old cloth, rags to catch their menstrual blood, which is why the term on the rag was used for women who were actually menstruating. Yeah, they used anything that was absorbent, any fabric or anything that was absorbent as pads. Disposable pads actually first was commercially available in year 1888, and they were known as Southall pads. In the First World War, actually, French nurses used the Kimberly-Clark bandages. They were wood pulp bandages as disposable pads. So they really just used whatever they could get their hands on to collect this menstrual blood to help the ladies to get through this. Many still used fabric, in Cortex, one of the most famous brands, had their first ad on sanitary pads in 1921. However, many still use fabric due to the cost factor and embarrassment. So there was something called a money box at that point in time, in 1921, whereby all these sanitary pads were put on a rack, okay? And the ladies come, put the money into the money box, which is next to the rack, take the sanitary pads and leave the shop, so that they don't have to have any communication with the cashier and those kinds of things. I must say that not much has changed even now, isn't it? We still have that sort of taboos when you go and buy pads. So the only thing is that time we had a money box. Now we have a cashier who will probably just do this, right? Or this, or something like that when they hand you the your pack of pads. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Sorry, I'm not very tech savvy. Yeah, okay. Right, so let's move on to some of the myths and taboos. You will be surprised that so many of these myths and taboos are actually still being practiced by the older age group, even some in the younger age group. In fact, when I was doing my slides, I was sitting with a friend of mine who was a pediatrician, you know, and when I was telling her a few ways, she said, yeah, my party also told me that, you know, when I was menstruating. And I was like, oh, okay, all right. So some of it among them, you cannot touch a plant when you're menstruating. The plant will die. Poor plant. I don't know what the plant did. I don't know how we have some superpowers that when we're menstruating, we transmit these powers to the tree and the plant dies. Especially they say curry leaves and those kinds of things that cannot touch. Cannot go camping. because the ghost will smell the menstrual blood and follow you and camp with you. Tampons or inserts will break your hymen. Okay, this is a good platform for me to explain what the hymen really is first before we talk about loss of virginity and impurity. Right, now many men, sorry, have this idea that the hymen is something that has a membrane on it, it's covered, and so when you have sexual intercourse for the first time, you actually break that hymen. No, no, no. You don't need to have that kind of powers and all that. It's nothing to do with that. The hymen is like a scrunchie, something like this. Can you all see? Maybe I use something black. Okay, can you see this? Something like this, all right? Now, it has an opening, obviously. That's why the menses can come out, isn't it? Imagine if it was closed up. The menses can't come out. It's actually an abnormal condition called imperforate hymen, which no man can perforate, yeah? Okay, so the hymen is something that is very elastic. It is shaped like a scrunchie. It is stretchable. Okay, it's actually stretchable like the scrunchie, right? So during intercourse or during insertion of anything that is blunt, right? What happens is you are not actually causing and penetrating and breaking some fantastic membrane that is there. What you're doing is actually sometimes it stretches out and it causes small tears on the sides of the hymen, which can result in bleeding. That's all. Some women might not have bleeding at all because there are many types of hymens. Right? Some are very lax, very big hymens. Right? It can be as big as this. Right? And so when there is penetration, there is no tear. Which brings me to the reason why if you insert a tampon gently, or even a menstrual cup for that matter, it does not tear anything. You don't lose your virginity. You don't become impure because of that. Yeah? Okay, coming to other things. Cold beverages. You drink ice, you have terrible cramps. Okay? Next one, wash your pad before throwing it. Otherwise, when you throw, the ghost will smell and come and haunt you. Okay, so that's some other things that we hear. This is the one that my pediatrician friend said her party told her. Okay, right. And then still being practiced in many places. You can't go to places of worship. You can't touch anything in the altar because then it automatically becomes impure. Right? Okay, something that I still can't accept till today. Okay, another one. This is the fantastic one. If you have your menses, even if you hold a man's hand, you'll get pregnant. Don't do it. Well, it's a good thing to tell your children, your girls, don't simply go and hold some fella's hand and all that kind of things, but you can't get pregnant just by holding their hand. And of course, purchasing pads. Purchasing pads, embarrassing, it still is. I still remember when I was younger, you know, they didn't have this cutely packed sanitary pads. Now it's all nicely packed in a one cover and then inside another plastic and inside another packet and, you know, all compact. Ours was those Sanita pads. They come in a box that is about this big. And then when you take it to the cashier first, especially if the cashier was a woman, right? What do? Wrap it with newspaper first. After that, put inside the black plastic bag. I'm sure many of you have experienced that. Put in the black plastic bag and then give you. The other things that you buy, they put in the normal red color plastic bag. So if you're walking with the red plastic bag and black plastic bag, wouldn't everybody anyway know what's in the black plastic bag, right? There are some places that still do it. So these are among some of the things that that show us that menstruation is still not very well understood by many people. Yeah. Okay. Right. Let's talk a little bit about menstrual hygiene. What is menstrual hygiene? Menstrual hygiene is actually vital to the empowerment and the well-being of adolescent girls and women. It's not only about access to pads and toilets, which is a very important factor, but it's also living in an environment that values and supports their ability to manage their menstruation with the key word here, dignity. That is what is very important. Yeah, we have to ensure that we allow them to manage their menstruation with dignity. Now, menstrual hygiene management is defined as women and girls using menstrual management products or materials to absorb the blood that can be changed in privacy as often as they need to. They have access to soap and water to wash themselves as often as they need to. and have disposal facilities. I mean, it's pretty simple. That's all they ask for. Some privacy, some clean water and soap, and disposal facility. Yeah, at least 5 million women across the globe lack these facilities. Yeah, and you know, I truly appreciate all NGOs and associations who are actually trying their best to educate the public regarding this and reaching out to these women who really need help. There is something called the Menstrual Hygiene Day on May 28th. I think this has been this day is very important to remind people of the importance of menstrual hygiene. Yeah. Okay, I would like to just show you a little bit of the available products that we have now. The sanitary pads, you have the disposable and the reusable ones, you have the tampons, and you have the menstrual cups. So for those men who have not seen tampons, this is tampons, right? These are the pads. This looks like a liner. Okay, this is the famous Cortex. Okay. All right. Okay. So down to some facts. Okay. Now, lack of affordable and effective products result in leakage, increased risk of urogenital infections, including bacterial vaginosis. In my own experience as an obstetrician, even as a doctor for the past good 16, 17 years, I have come across women in some of the states that I've worked in, or some of the hospitals that I've worked in, that have actually just used rags, sarong, the cloth from their sarong. They cut into rectangles, put layer on layer on layer, and use it because they can't afford, especially those who have menorrhagia or what I call very heavy menses, right? Now, they use 4 to 5 pads a day, and they are heavy for 2 days. So they can't afford to buy that many sanitary napkins because it's expensive, especially when you come from the population that lives below the poverty line, or when you have financial constraints. So I have seen this personally and feel really sorry for these women and children. And this also subjects them to increased chances of infection because they just use anything that comes their way. Menstruation affects girls' schooling because, they have this issue that when you don't have proper sanitary products on your side, you have a fear of leak. You have a fear you will be embarrassed by your friends if you leak, or you have nothing to change into if the one and only pad that you're using is full, right? You may stain yourself. So because of that, what they do is they shy away from school. And some of them become target of sexual violence. It affects employment and work experiences of women. So actually research has been done in low income and middle income countries, and they have found this sort of effect actually on the women and adolescent girls in those countries. I would like to just touch a bit on period poverty. What's period poverty? So period poverty, the United Nations has actually defined period poverty as period or poverty or lack of 4 elements, which is menstrual products, menstrual education, privacy, and also access to sanitary disposals, toilet, water, and hand washing facilities. I think you will hear this again and again through all our presentations. In Malaysia, our girls and women actually face issues with products, education, and also access. Especially in the rural areas and populations that are below the poverty line. Okay, so due to the cost of sanitary pads or the equivalence of sanitary pads, they resort to using rags, unhygienic cloths, like I said before, skipping of school, unable to go to work, too shy, too worried, too embarrassed, something might happen at work. And all this has a long-term effect. Once you start skipping school, education starts going down, university is a whole different challenge, which they think they probably will never be able to go through that period of time in their life. Their careers are affected, and it has a very strong mental and psychological effect on the women. So women menstruate for about 38 years of their life. They have roughly 500 periods in a lifetime. They use about 10 to 20 products per cycle. That's equivalent to 10,000 disposable products in the lifetime of one woman, which takes, like Nisha had mentioned, 500 to 800 years to decompose. So you can imagine with how many million women, how much of product waste that we have. And in Malaysia itself, we had 2.4 billion pieces of sanitary waste annually. And that's equivalent to about 2,400 tons or 2.4 million kgs of sanitary waste per year, right? So policy-led initiatives and donations to provide menstrual products have increased across the globe, as what you all are trying to do, which is great. In Malaysia, some of these initiatives that have been there includes the Bunga Pads by MyCox alumni, a Pad for Her, Peduli Merah by Gerak Malaysia, and this current initiative by Rotary Malaysia, Rotary India, and all other NGOs. Girls and women really need effective, safe, and affordable menstrual products. So, which brings me to discussing about the sustainable options to help girls and women facing menstrual poverty. I think Nisha has touched on this two products that are sustainable products that can be used in your outreach programs. So here we have the, for the men folk, if you're still on board, these are the fashionable reusable sanitary pads, and this is what a menstrual cup looks like. Yeah. Okay, so the reusable menstrual products, the sanitary napkins we start off with, they are made from fabric. Yeah, it can go from hemp to cotton to fully organic. Yeah, it varies in the price. Yeah, with some even having some non-leak material incorporated into it. It comes in different sizes to suit the flow. Reusable for up to 5 years, 4 to 5 years. It can be washed by hand and washing machine. It stays in shape unlike the disposable ones. And it's good for people with sensitive skin, women with sensitive skin, because it causes less allergic reactions. Yeah, it stays in place, like what Nisha said, because it has wings that snap into place. Yeah, to keep it in place. They are very comfortable, absorbent, economical on the long run, and does not contribute to landfill. Yeah. The downsides, everything does have some kind of downsides for sure. The important thing is these girls and women have to have the facility for washing. They need to have clean water. They need to have detergents. If they don't have this, then the use of these products is going to be really difficult for them to sustain. Yeah, what's going to happen is they're going to use it and they're going to throw it because they cannot keep it clean. They need to be properly dried because of risk of infection or reinfection. For example, if a lady or a girl has candida infections and if they don't properly dry it, like what Nisha has said, they have advised them to dry it in the sun, which is the best, right? What happens is if it's not dried properly, they can get reinfected by the organism that have retained in that damp cloth that they are using. Yeah, then of course the initial cost might be a little bit more. And if a woman has any kind of bloodborne infections like hepatitis C, for example, they will need to have a leak-proof container which they can keep sealed when they change their sanitary napkin. Yeah, they have to put it in there before they take it home and give it a wash. Yeah. Now that brings us to the next product, which is the menstrual cup. Please don't think that I'm trying to promote any I have no hand in any of this business handling any of these things. Yeah, so this is what a menstrual cup looks like, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of ladies don't know about it either. Like I said, when I was preparing this at work, my nurses were looking at it and going, oh, really? And so were my colleagues. All right, so for the men out there and the women, this is your uterus. A little bit of anatomy class. This is your uterus, right? This is the cervix, and this is your vagina. I mean, someone's vagina. And then this is the fallopian tubes, which is nothing but a highway, right? To pick up the egg and let the sperm meet together like a meeting point to bring it into the womb, right? Okay, so this is how a menstrual cup sits in the vagina. This point here is for support. It is not a valve to release the blood or anything of that sort. Yeah, this is as a support down here, and this is the cup that collects the blood. Okay, if you look at the menstrual cup and you look on comparison to a tampon, in terms of length, it's about the same. Okay, it's about the same. Although if we were just to look at this without looking at this, we'd be like, oh, you want to insert that inside my vagina? Are you kidding me? Okay, this is pliable. You can fold it. Isha showed a nice picture of how it's nicely folded into something small. Remember, this thing is stretchable, right? So it can nicely, gently go in, right? Now, it has a long history, but it's not commonly known, this menstrual cup. Yeah? It's inserted into the vagina. The receptacle actually collects about 10 to 38 mils of blood at any one time. Your user is advised to empty it every 4 to 12 hours, depending on your flow. Then you might need to change it a little bit more often. Empty it a little bit more often on your heavy days, or if you have menorrhagia. Yeah, they are made of medical grade silicone, rubber, latex. Yeah, it can be used actually up to almost 10 years, right? And there is less risk of infection, as it does not really affect the vaginal flora as compared to having a damp tampon in the vagina, which has an increased risk of toxic shock syndrome. Yeah. Okay, before I go on, I just wanted to make a mention. This reusable pads, right, actually had made a comeback in light of the initiatives that were actually started in Africa for women and young girls in Africa who actually didn't have access to disposable sanitary pads. So they had improved on the fabric pads, and they created such good quality pads that today it is not only used for outreach programs, but across in Europe especially, a lot of women have resorted to using this reusable pads because it's much more environmental friendly and all the other factors that I just discussed earlier on. Yeah. So reported side effects of the menstrual cup. It can cause vaginal wounds, especially for the initial insertions. If you're not careful, sometimes it's a bit difficult to put in. It may have you may experience some pain on removal. Some of them have allergies. These are all reported side effects, yeah, based on some studies that they have done in countries where these products are being used. Some had vaginal irritation and some needed assistance to remove it, meaning that they needed someone with experience or a doctor to actually help them remove it. Now, when you're going to use a menstrual cup, there are a few cycles. You need a few cycles for familiarization. Yeah, it's not about just getting it and putting it in and everything's solved. Yeah, you need to learn how to put it in. It will take a few cycles, and how to make it sit properly. You may experience leaks in the initial few cycles because of placement of the cup. However, if someone constantly faces leak issues, it could be because of some anatomical issue, yeah, in the genital tract that is varying, that has caused this thing not to sit properly. Yeah, there are various sizes of the cups. Yeah, so we need to know there are ways of knowing what size cup to use, or when to use which cup, and things like that. Yeah. So, like what Nisha had put up into piece, this is from Shopee from Malaysia. So I think Shopee is one of the cheapest we can get products, or Lazada and things like that, right? So you're looking at a reusable pad is anything between 3 to 15 ringgit per piece. Yeah, you can get. I think there was some package of 7 pieces for 25 ringgit, whereas a sanitary pad, roughly about a fairly good absorbent one, is about 50 cents per pad. 20 per cycle, and that's for 12 cycles in a year. It's about 120 ringgit. Yeah, so the cost effectiveness is very, very obvious. Yeah, I don't think there is any argument on the cost effectiveness of using these reusable products. Yeah, the menstrual cup is anything between 13 to 30 ringgit per cup. Yeah? So I'm coming towards the end of my presentation. Now, initiatives to help those unable to afford sanitary products. When we were to choose a product, it has to be something that is sustainable. something that has easy maintenance. Like for example, your menstrual cups, you wash and you sterilize it just by boiling the cup. Yeah, easy to use, easily available. It needs to be cost effective, especially for you guys who are doing such a great job, because you need to gather funds to actually run these sorts of programs, and cost effectiveness is of absolute importance. Environmental friendly is addition of the good things that you do when you use reusable products. And don't forget that you need to get a product that can retain the dignity of the woman and the girl, which is of course of utmost importance. You don't want anything that can actually cause them to be even more embarrassed than they already are. Yeah. So as a closing, menstruation is a natural phenomenon that's occurring in every woman. Yeah, it is just the body's way of preparing for reproduction. Yeah, and without reproduction, there is no you and me and the future generation. Yeah, it is not at all dirty. What the content of the menstrual blood is nothing but tissue that was previously lining the womb, waiting for a baby to come and sit in it. It didn't happen, so the blood flows out, the tissues flow out. That's all. Yeah, it is like us shedding skin. The only difference is we don't see our skin shedding every day, but menses, we see it in every cycle. Yeah, women should not be embarrassed or made to feel embarrassed because they're menstruating. It doesn't make a woman any less when they menstruate. Yeah, they still do all the work. They still do all the activities and carry it out as usual when they have access to good menstrual hygiene, when they have access to good menstrual products. Yeah, so this is what is lacking in those women who are not in that category. Yeah, because we don't see our athletes or anything postponing a tournament or a run because they are menstruating. They run the race. They get the job done because they are equipped with all these facilities. And that is something that is of a disadvantage to those who do not have these facilities. Education and access to sanitary facilities is of the utmost importance to ensure menstrual hygiene. You have your support system, your family, the men in the family need to understand menses is not a problem. Menses is a physiology. Menses is normal. Embrace it. Thank you very much. Shirley, I think you're muted.
Like to comment? Can I comment?
Sorry. Yes, Indu, you can proceed.
Yeah, I am a Rotarian Indu Luthra from District 3080. I want to compliment Dr. Sai Sudha. She explained it so well, so nicely, so effectively. I'm highly enriched. Thank you so much for inviting me to this club. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Right, I'll hand over now to our moderator, Rotarian Suparna, to handle the Q&A session. So ladies, if you have any questions, ladies and guys, if you have any questions, please do key that in the Zoom chat area, or you can actually unmute yourself and ask the question directly to the speaker. So over to you, Suparna.
Hello, good evening, Dr. Sai Sudha. Indeed, and nice way of explaining it to all of us across countries, wonderfully absorbent to our minds. I would use the word that way.
Thank you.
Okay, we have got our first question out here. It says, since every woman is different, I assume every woman's menstrual cycle health also could differ. Since there is also a stigma attached to visiting an OBGYN, what problems
discharge
should a woman be aware of? This has come from P. Alex.
Okay, I'm not sure why there's a stigma to visit your OBGYN. There should not be a stigma to visit your OBGYN to begin with.
Question was for me.
Sorry?
Sorry, that question was for me.
Yeah.
I think the stigma is attached to usually I think every woman should visit a gynae, but I think even in Malaysia, the stigma is that you only visit a gynae if you're trying to have a baby or when you're married. So a lot of unmarried women don't often go see OBGYN. And I think the stigma is also they expect certain discharge or period pains to be normal. So I was wondering if anything a woman should know that certain things, if your flow is too heavy, or if you have a certain color discharge, or if you're in prolonged pain, it's not normal. It's not like normal period pain and things like that.
It's not. It's having period pains or dysmenorrhea, what we call it, varies from person to person. Yeah, some don't experience it at all. Some experience it. You see, the thing is, a lot of times when they were to ask, "Oh, I'm having period pains," "Oh, it's normal." The mothers will say, the grandmothers say, "You're having your period, but of course, you're going to have period pain. That's how it is." Okay, but if it's a crippling pain, you need to take MCs because you just can't function on the days that you're having the pain. That's extreme pain. You should not be having that extreme pain. Something must be happening. There are two types of dysmenorrhea, primary and secondary dysmenorrhea. Primary is physiological. It could be a secondary dysmenorrhea, which is actually secondary to something else that is going on in the system. Endometriosis, adenomyosis, some fibroids. There's so many things that can actually cause someone to have pain. So I can understand your question, because I do see this very often, and they come pretty late, yeah, after suffering for so long, yeah. Because they feel that this is something natural, and if I go and see the obstetrician, the gynae, I don't know what's going to happen. They're going to just tell me it's normal. It is not. The moment you feel something is crippling, or if you have your menses since the start and it is not been regular, or you find a change in your cycles, change in the amount, something's not right. Right? So you need to come and get advice, because we need to check you out to see what's actually going on. Do not fear your gynecologist. We should be your friends, really, because we deal with women day in, day out. We see all these problems all the time. There is a taboo that you only will go and see, or if you go and see it, it's like going and seeing a psychiatrist, right? If you go and see a psychiatrist, means you are mental, something is not right. So if you go and see a gynecologist, you must have been naughty, that's why you went to see a gynecologist. So please, we are also trying to reach out to people to tell them that it's not that. Yeah, women have real issues. Women have real issues that gynecologists really understand. So if you have foul-smelling vaginal discharge, it should not be there. If you have copious amount of discharge, it should not be there. Discharges are usually very much normal. Discharges are associated with your menstrual cycle when you ovulate in the mid-cycle, or where it'll be very clear, very thin discharge. And then at the end of the cycle, there is thickening of that same discharge. Those are normal. Anything other than that, it's not normal. When you have itching, burning sensation with the discharge, it is not normal. All these things you will need to get advice, and not everyone is going to have the same type of cycles. The moment you see a change in your cycle, probably something is not right. You need to come and get some advice. I hope that answered you, Alex.
Thank you, doctor. I think what we should remember is our life, our system, right? If we are good, our family is good. So we should not wait to...
I think I say this to a lot of women, that women's health matters. It matters a lot. A woman gets properly examined when they are pregnant, because they have no choice but to see an obstetrician. And that is when we obstetricians find a lot of underlying problems in the lady, whether it's a thalassemia, whether it's a connective tissue disease, whether it's a heart condition, something that's been there, but they never got it checked because they just never. If you go for a cough and flu, you're treated for the cough and flu. Nobody looks at anything else, right? But when you come pregnant, or when you come and see your gynecologist, in the Malays will say, dari hujung rambut sampai hujung kaki, doktor check saya. That means right from the tip of your hair to the tip of the toe, everything gets checked. So I think women need to emphasize a little bit more on their health. You need to take matters into your hands.
So let's get our checkups regularly done, our medical checkup. That's the point. Okay, doctor, we have a question from Nandini. She says that use of disposable pad does it cause any health issues because of the chemical composition that it is made up of?
Okay, you have actually a lot of this disposable pads, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
single
okay.
use.
So single-use pads actually, as the name suggests, you're not supposed to keep it on for too long. What some people do is they keep the disposable pads on, it's full, they have no time, and then it overflows, it's wet, it's damp. Of course, then you're going to cause some problems, like infections and things like that. And you have to try to avoid using things that are scented with this and scented with that. Who's going to smell that part of you? I'm not too sure other than yourself. But you see, what happens when you use things that are scented, hygiene washes, disposable pads that are scented, all these things have chemical in it. And it's going to change the flora of your vagina. The pH of your vagina gets changed, so the flora gets changed, and you end up having infections. So I would say that you go for products, disposable products, which are not scented, don't have any additional things in it, that are cotton-based, and please change your pads regularly. You need to, if you're using disposable pads, you need to change it regularly because of the synthetic stuff that are in the pad. So the moment you feel like, you are getting full, you need to change it. I think that's the only way for you to avoid having reactions or any kind of infection, or risk yourself of developing anything when using these sorts of pads.
Regularly would be, if I'm not wrong, about 4 to 5 hours at the max.
Well, it very much depends on your flow. Right? If you are having very heavy flow, like some women have menorrhagia, they might not be able to wait for 4 hours, maybe within 2 hours. But of course, if you have to change your pad every hour or every 2 hours for the first 3-4 days, please get yourself checked. That's a lot of blood loss. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Doc. We have Pushpavali asking us that you had given them 2 options of cloth pad and a cup. So she wants to know that if a representative had to be brought to the community B40 to educate them, what would be a suitable option? Community B40.
Okay. As much as I'm sitting here and telling you about myths and taboos, it's not going to change overnight in the community. Not B40, not M20, not T. What is the T? Is it T something? T10, T20, or something like that? No matter where you look at the hierarchy. Yeah. These myths and taboos, sometimes you will be surprised, comes from very affluent families. They still believe in certain taboos. So I would think that when you're approaching the B40 group or any community that you need to educate, yes, you can tell them about the menstrual cup, but chances are they're going to be more comfortable with the reusable pads because I think they can relate to it better. It is very similar to the disposable pads. The only thing is that they can keep it. So it is a very familiar ground for them. And you educate them about the menstrual cup and the usage of the menstrual cup, but probably like what they are doing in India, Nisha is doing, that they're saying the married women, you can open them to the idea of the menstrual cup. And for the unmarried, even the parents, no matter how you try to educate, it's quite difficult because they might want it, but the parents might not allow them to use the menstrual cup only because of these beliefs. Yeah, no matter how a gynecologist explains about the hymen, we still come to a dead end all the time. So I would think that they will probably accept the pads more easily than the menstrual cups.
Okay. We have a very classic question from none other than Shiv from our club, Platinum City Club. He says, how can boys and men get involved in not only supporting the lady family members, colleagues or friends, but to support MHH in itself? How do you get them together?
I think first men have to make appearances in MHH to break that thing about the taboo of having men involved in menstrual issues. Number 2, the men should play a very important role. Stand in front, give the talks, explain, hold the pad in the hand and show. This shows them that this shows that the man understands, and maybe most other men will not feel too shy to just hold the pad. I think men play a very important role, not only at the level of their wives or their daughters, but in the community. You can really make a change if you are more involved. Sanitary pads that were given up during the International Women's Day were given up by women, not by men. So the men were complaining and talking all sorts of horrible things about it, weren't they? Yeah. But there was a picture of this man, my MP, my friend and MP in Batu Kawan. They had an initiative where they bought disposable pads. So her constituent member was pushing a trolley full of pads, and a photograph was taken and said, "What the hell is he doing?" But I take my hats off to him, because he went to this full mall and pushed a trolley full of sanitary pads. So I think you need to be bold and come out and join the initiatives that are being done, and that is how you can get involved in these programs. I think that's the way to go for the men.
And we need to break the taboos at our home. We need to speak to our daughters.
Yes.
We need to encourage our sons to understand.
Exactly. I think fathers who are more accepting, fathers who buy sanitary pads, your sons will follow.
Right.
Definitely.
Okay. So, a lot of congratulations, Doctor, for such a lovely talk.
Just 1 minute.
Yes.
Are reusable sanitary towels available in India?
Yes, very much.
Yes, ma'am.
I am very old, so I don't know. And this is the only answer for village backward economically women. This is the only answer, to give them reusable. Otherwise, they can't afford. Thank you so much.
Actually, what Nisha did a presentation, ma'am, was about Rupantara. In fact, we have been reaching out to villages in a small panchayat. You will understand what a panchayat is. And we have been able to bring a change in about 350 women. And there are many more waiting to take this cloth pads up in India, at least, in and around Bangalore. And we want to spread this far and wide. Thank you so much.
May I ask one question?
Yes.
How to maintain this menstrual cup for 10 years, ma'am? Can you please have a glance on it?
Okay, they are actually methods of how you keep it. So a lot of women, they don't just have one menstrual cup. They have a few in different sizes, depending on the time of their, the flow, right? And what you need to do is, after you empty it, once you're done for the day, and then when you change your cup, you need to wash it properly with soap and water, and you boil it, right? That is how you sterilize it. And you can keep it. Now, it's because of the material that they use. It's medical grade silicone, and it's very durable. So that is why it can be maintained. And if you take these days, if you were to see, when you buy the menstrual cup, it comes in a nice cute little bag for you to keep it very safely and clean. So methods are being, they are coming up with a lot of ways where you can really, if you take care of the product, you keep it clean, and you sanitize it the correct way, it should be able to last you for quite some time.
Can I come in for a bit?
Sorry?
Only one cup is purchasing only one cup is fine, because many pads we are keeping extra, but now with only one the thing is done.
Yeah, but you please have a standby cup just in case.
I would like to come in for a bit, Dr. Sai Sudha, about the sterilization bit. What we do here in India is we don't recommend using soap at all, because if they do not wash the soap off very well from the cup, that could cause yeast infection, because the soap residue. So you may want to elaborate on that, please.
Well, I understand your standpoint of having residue of soap, which can cause irritation on the long run. So it is very important. That's why I said that it is not about just giving the individual or giving the ladies the product. They have to have the facility of washing it with good amount of water, clean water, because if they were to just rinse it out, put the soap, they're going to end up in a lot of other problems, like what Nisha has brought up. So in the event that there is scarce amount of water and soap and things like that, especially water, then you might want to consider rinsing it and putting it in hot water and not using the soap. But please be careful that you take out every residue, any amount of residue of blood that is there. Because like I said, if any woman or girl is having any blood-borne diseases, and if it comes in contact with somebody with an open wound, that might actually pose a problem. But otherwise, but most of the time, nobody's going to come in contact with your cup other than yourself. So that is a very important thing, and brilliantly explained by Nisha. Yeah, I totally agree with you.
Okay. IDG Bitti has touched upon a very, very, I would say, a very sensitive subject. She says that, could you elaborate on the different effects that menstruation has on a woman's personal feelings and emotions?
This is a topic of its own. Okay, so you see, it's an entire cycle of, the menstrual cycle is an entire cycle that involves a lot of hormones, right? Right from the hypothalamus to the ovary to the uterus. So a lot of changes are happening in the body. So there is no one person who has the same makeup as another. So our bodies react very differently to a lot of different things, including hormones. Yeah? Some might be a little bit more exaggerated than the others. So some might not have PMS at all. Some might have such bad mood swings that the husband will choose to sleep in another room for that period of time, just to keep the peace in the house. Yeah. So it's really a bit hard for me to comment about women's personal feelings and reactions because it may vary. But what they usually have is, you see, when they're at work, they have to deal with these emotions because they can't be sharing it or showing it to their colleagues. So when they come home, they let loose. Let loose meaning, I don't want to talk to you. I'm not in the mood. Leave me alone. What's there for dinner? What's on the table is what you're going to eat. Don't ask me anything else. I'm done for the day. Leave them alone, please. They are done for the day. Because the moment you go and poke and probe and why, and you are just asking for trouble, gentlemen. Leave them alone. So
wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
All right. Don't ask. This is when you need to practice silence is golden. It's just for a few days, maybe maximum 5 days to a week. And then don't expect that the first day they have their menses, everything becomes fine. Give them a couple of days, they will be back to what they were. So these kind of reactions that happens to women is really, a lot of it is beyond their control. So like I said, it can vary from no mood swings at all. For some women who don't know, oops, I got my menses, they didn't even know it's coming, to women who know, I'm getting my menses tomorrow, right? So we have even that varies, right? Like I had a patient who told me, oh, my menses is clockwork, doctor, it's coming tomorrow. And then she'll call me and say, it came. I mean, you know, and then you have others who don't. So it really varies from one person to another. But yes, the magnitude of the reaction and the things, the emotional journey that it takes a woman into is very complex. So it's a bit hard for me to say how bad one will react to it, but it is really how you will be reacting to it. And when you reach menopause, will be a whole set of new things that you're going to face because all the good hormones have stopped and everything else happens. So that topic we'll keep for another day.
Having said that, I would like to say that I think it's equally important for us women to openly talk about what we are going through to the other members in the family. Otherwise, they don't know.
Yeah.
And I think it's important for us to even tell them that, listen, it's the 5 days. My boys know, my husband knows that those 5 days, they wouldn't bother me. I think we should talk about it.
So it is a communication. It's a two-way communication, right? Women also cannot just expect the man to know that you're going to be menstruating soon. One day you just come back from work and you're tired and you're not in the mood and you expect them to just think she's going to get her menses. No. Usually men take some time. You just need to tell them. You just need to tell them because you don't expect them to be able to know or sense.
Thank you, Dr. Sai. Thank you for pointing that out.
So they don't have that kind of senses, you know, to know that you've got your menses or you're going to get your menses. So communication, explaining, understanding really helps a lot because then they will know why this is happening, and they will also try to facilitate to help you deal with it, because sometimes when they know, then they are very supportive, and that really helps a lot.
Yeah.
Hey, Suparna, sorry, I have to interrupt.
Yes.
We do need to move on because of time constraint.
Okay.
So for the other questions, if they are not addressed, we'll pass it on to Dr. Sai Sudha, and we'll probably post it on our FB page in order to address the questions that we could not address. And now I would like to invite President-elect Alex from the Rotary Club of Mont Kiara Gateway for a vote of thanks to our guest speaker.
Hi, everyone. On behalf of the Rotary Club of Subang, Rotary Club of Lake Gardens, Rotary Club of Bukit Angkasa, Rotary Club of Bandar Sungai Petani, Rotary Club Mont Kiara Gateway, and Rotary Club of Seremban, Rotary Club Bukit Jalil, Rotary Club of Pandamaran, and the Rotary Club of Bangalore, Platinum City, we would like to thank everyone for coming to our inaugural Menstrual Hygiene Tri-Series Awareness. Special thanks to our guest speaker, Dr. Sai Sudha. From the comment section, I can see a lot of people have learned so many new things. Even as a person who's had her menses for over 2 decades, even I learned something new. And I hope we're able to take away a lot of the initiatives that India has done, right, through the learnings of President-elect Nisha, and also congratulations to President Glory and also Rhetorian Hema for their initiatives and the work that they're doing in trying to spread awareness and understanding about menstrual health through the action group and the work that they're doing. We would really like to invite everyone to join our second session that will be coming up next month. Do look out for the posters or join our the Facebook group, because we will be posting more details when we have the next speaker, when we're talking more about menstrual health for the next session. With that, on behalf of everyone, thank you very much to incoming DG, Datuk Bindi, for joining us, all Rotarians and also non-Rotarians, our brothers and sisters from Malaysia, India, and all around the world for joining us today. With that, good evening.
Thank you very much, President-elect Alex. And to Dr. Sai Sudha, this is a e-certificate of appreciation for your contribution towards our menstrual health and hygiene tri-series talk, kickstarting the first talk. And from all of us, you can see the 9 clubs involved in this talk. Moving forward, I would, as what was mentioned by PE Alex earlier, please block these dates. The 21st of April and the 20th of May would be the second and the third talk in our tri-series in creating awareness on menstrual hygiene and health. Now, on the 21st of April, we will be looking at aspects of the suppliers and vendors of these reusable menstrual products in Malaysia, and how Rotary clubs and other groups can come together to obtain these products and try to educate the communities out there with these products. So we'll be talking about, we'll be touching a lot on statistical data, damages that are happening to our environment for the use of disposable pads, and how we can best sustain our environment through the use of reusable pads and menstrual cups. Then on the 20th of May, we will be then looking at a holistic view of the woman itself. We have 3 aspects to that. One of it will be mentally, how to prepare yourself mentally when going through these menstruation periods of time. And also we look at, from the diet point of view, the kind of food that a woman should consume for her health purposes. And also we are also going to be looking at the exercises, the physical point of view, the kind of exercises a woman can undertake to reduce the cramps and pains that she undergoes during this time. So we are going to look at a very holistic view. So we have all fantastic speakers lined up for the second and third of our tri-series talk. Please block these dates. The EDMs will be coming out soon, and we will definitely be distributing it around. We hope to see you. Please invite your friends. If you have benefited from today's talk, just imagine what the second and the third talk is going to do to you. You know, I believe that Dr. Sai Sudha, you have set a very high bar today for the speakers on the second and third talk. But, you know, we have been educated today. about the myths, the taboos, and we understand a little bit more about menstrual health and hygiene matters. So with that, do take note about these dates, very important, block them. And with that, I would like to have a group photograph. P. Vinodan, can you please help me for the group photograph? I would especially like all of you to switch on your video so that we can have the group photographs taken. Yes, smile. Okay, Vinodan, please indicate when you are ready. You have to have your smile for some time because it's three screens he needs to take the pictures. So over to you, Vinodan.
Yes, give me a second. Okay. All right, at the screen one, smile.
We won't know which screen we are in.
Yes. Keep on smiling. Yeah, 1, 2. Okay, give me a second. Let me save this first. All right. Okay.
All I see is frozen teeth.
Very painful.
Sorry, can you like hurry up?
Hold on, I'm doing a screenshot so it's easier.
Can I help you?
No. All right, last one. All right, 1, 2, and 3. Good, thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody. Your presence here today itself is that great support that we need. As I mentioned, as long as our voice is loud, then the energy is really great and we are able to reach out to as many people as possible. If you have gained a lot from today's talk, please do invite your friends for our second and third talk of our Try series. Thank you very much to all our partner clubs in Rotary District 3300 and also Rotary District 3190. Am I right? Did I get that right, Nisha? Okay, that's great. Thank you very much. It officially ends now and fellowship begins. Thank you.